Okay, so to make custom sabers in BeatCraft, the first thing you're going to want to do is head over to the wiki. I'll leave a link in the description, and just download the template zip file here, and then also open an instance on either Modern or CurseForge, doesn't matter. Launch the game. We'll be using it to preview the sabers, and also open the folder, and then go to BeatCraft Custom Sabers, and then open downloads where we just downloaded this. Go ahead and unzip it, and then just copy it over, and then we'll go in here. One other thing you need to do is download Blockbench. I'm gonna go ahead and open that, and then we'll drag this JSON file from what we just downloaded into Blockbench to open it. My setup is weird, so the textures are broken. I'll just fix that real fast. You shouldn't need to do that, otherwise just do what I just did. Control A, set the texture. Okay, with the game open, go ahead and join any world. The easiest way to do this is just to put the sabers in the item frames. Makes it easier to preview, or you can just throw it, but that only works for 5 minutes, so item frames works better. In Blockbench, starting from this is just the base model. It gives you the size of the hilt and the size of the blade, but you can delete these if you want. You don't need to keep them, they're just there for reference for how long the blade is and how long the hilt is and where they are. So to get started, I'm just going to actually save this. It's going to give you a warning about the model being too large. BeatCraft bypasses the limit anyways, so just hit OK. And then back in Minecraft, since we went and copied the download thing into the custom sabers already, it's already in here, so we just do /custom sabers refresh and then /custom sabers list, and now we can see the saber that we're working on. If you then click it, do /custom sabers select and then paste, we've now selected our custom model. It looks very weird right now since it's just using the default texture. So back here, if we look at this cube, we see it's under the colored folder. Anything under this folder will be tinted by the saber color, and anything in this folder will be left alone with just whatever color the texture is, as we can see here. Just to showcase some of the things that you can do with this, first I'm just going to quickly paint this white just because it makes it look better. Save that again, go back here, and then just refresh, and it'll immediately update, and we can see that the sabers are now correctly blue and red without having these colors mixed with it. For effects, if I want this to glow, I'm going to select this, double click it to change the name, and just write bloom. Go ahead, save it again, refresh, and now they glow. Okay, so another thing you can do, so if I go ahead and I take this and I want to make this look like a cylinder now. So what I'm going to do is hold Alt to flatten that so it's still centered. You can see the pivot point is down here, which is important because this is where we're going to spin this, create a fake cylinder. Select this, and we're going to add another thing here. We're going to add a semicolon and then type swivel : Y, and that will swivel on the axis, on the y-axis, and it'll make the north face point towards the camera. And I think it might be the south face, I've never checked. And then with it swiveling now, I'll go ahead and save that so we can see that in action, and I'll refresh. Now we can see that they are flat, and if I fly down here, you can see how it tilts to point towards the camera as best it can. Okay, and now for the rest of the cylinder, there's another thing you can do. You go to the wiki and scroll down, it's the shaders here. So what I'm going to do is add a new cube, move it up to here, resize it to be flat, move it very slightly up so that it's not clipping with this, and I'm going to select it, right click, texture, our texture, and I'm going to take the up and down face and expand them all the way. And the reason we're doing this is because we're doing a custom shader, so it's not actually going to use the texture. And so what the circle shader, which I'll go ahead and do here, we'll do shader : circle : R1 for a radius of 1. And what that's saying is in the texture space, we'll be drawing a circle in the center of the texture, and a radius of 1 means it'll go all the way to the edge of the texture. And this is regardless of what the UV mapping is. If the UV is like this, we'll get the circle going and arcing through there, which is why we make it full, because we want the full circle. And then I'm going to copy and paste that. and then move it all the way up here to the end of the blade. Come back here and refresh. As we can see, there's now a circular cap. And at the base, we can also apply bloom to these. So at the end, we'll do semicolon bloom, same here, semicolon bloom, save, refresh. And now they also glow. And now for the hilts, you can just touch that however you want. I will just make a cube, drag it here, go up, resize it to that. I want it colored, so move it to colored. Right click it, set its texture. And then I'm also just going to make it slightly bigger. I'm doing this part after setting the texture so that the UV mapping stays as just 2 pixels wide instead of 2 and a little bit. And then with the cube, I'll take the up and down faces and just drag them into the transparent area of the texture. And then I'll take this cube, go to paint, and just paint bucket each of these sides. And then go back to edit, and then here, I'm going to leave this blank with no special effects, so it'll only be colored. And then this one, I'm going to rename it Bloom, and then refresh, and this gives us this hilt. And this is how the default Saber is built. To add on to it, I'll add, say, another cube, and I'll shrink it a bit. And I'm just going to make like 4 of these, and they're just going to circle around the center of this, maybe. So if I take that, copy and paste it, and then I'll just rotate it. I'll make sure they're colored too. Select both of them, copy paste it again, rotate them around to here, right click, set the texture. This is a little tedious, I probably should have done this before copy pasting. Now we're doing a spin, which is just constant spinning. I'll do spin, colon, and then the axis, so just y-axis, and then colon. This is the time it takes to do a single revolution, so I'll do 1 second. And so now all of them will spin. So if I save this again, go in and refresh, there are now little spinning cubes around it. If I want them to spin the other way, or maybe I'll make alternating ones spin. So take these two and I'll swap it so it's -1y. Okay, sorry, I got that wrong. It's y-1. Instead of -1y. Now save it, now refresh. Now we have 2 that spin in opposite directions, and you can do this on any axis. And if you can specify like more complex axes. So let me just add another cube, say here. I want it to pivot around here, but I want it to spin more along the axis from up here to down here, and then back around to up. So that will be on the XY axis. So that'll be spin, colon, XY, colon 1, save, refresh. Now it spins along that axis. You can get even more fine with it, just like how we do y-1 here. If you specify a number after the axis, it'll be like x, like 2x for 1y, so it'll spin around a more steep axis and might only make it to about there in the spin, as you can see. This also works on the swivel system, so if I go ahead and just get rid of all these for now, and I'll add a new cube, move it to here, and then resize it, make it flat, make it about that, set the texture, that's important. Typically you would actually be moving the UVs as you do this to reasonable places to do actual texturing. I'm just leaving it blank for this, and then I'll rename it to be swivel, colon, and then this is the x-axis. Make sure the pivot point is in the right place. So there, go up 1, and then there, and then I'm going to copy and paste this to the other side. Move the pivot back into the right place, save it, and then reload again. Now we have side beams that always aim towards the camera. And now that you've made a Saber, made it how you want, the last thing you're going to want to do, go back to the folder with the JSON, open it in something like VS Code. We're going to come in here, and then since the template, we'll scroll down to where these are. The display name, we'll change this to something, and then set the author to yourself, save it, and then in here, going to refresh again. This is going to make these default back to the default Saber textures since we've just renamed everything. And then if we list again, it now shows up as the name by you. If you click to copy that, you can now select it, load it back in. So yeah, that's how you set up Sabers for BeatCraft.